Back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast Zoomcast this afternoon with Coach Chris Jans of the New Mexico State Aggies. He's going into his fifth season there in Las Cruces. He has a .758 winning percentage, fifth highest among active coaches, 116 wins during that time, and a pair of NCAA tournament appearances. Coach, welcome.
Hi, Ken. How are you doing?
Doing great. Appreciate you coming on with us.
You bet. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. Your guys were really struck hard, though, with COVID last season, and you didn't get to practice, I think, in state until January. A scenario like that, though, how can that be used as a positive coming into a new season?
Well, I think the positive view on it is we don't have to do that again. That was a very abnormal year for college basketball in general. Certainly we had maybe bigger obstacles placed in front of us than most programs, and our objects were somewhat of a moving target at times. Like you mentioned, had to relocate for 71 days in a row, take the whole program down to Phoenix and try to continue moving forward in a ballroom practice setting. And we had a massive COVID while we were there. And then eventually we were allowed to come back home and practice, which was awesome news to us. Unfortunately, we weren't able to play at home. We had to play out of state. So our home games were at a high school here in El Paso with no fans or band or cheerleaders, my wife didn't even come to the game. So it was an odd experience, and proud of our guys, though. They stuck together. We don't have any opt-outs. We got better as the season progressed. We were 7-1 going into the conference tournament. So, we had figured out how to be a decent basketball team. In the end, we got to the championship game and GCU beat us, and they deserved to beat us. They were better than we were last year, but it was an odd year. And so the silver lining is everyone's in better spirits, sleeping in their own bed. We're practicing in friendly confines, and knock on wood, here in 8 days, we'll be playing back in our home court where our fan base is rabid and ready to go.
Well, you got a good one back. In fact, you've got a couple of good ones back we're going to talk about here. But Jabari Rice, he struggled last season, had an ankle injury. He still found 13.2 points, 5.2 boards per game. His intensity level, I would imagine, is at a premium right now.
Yeah, he's in a great place. Him and Clayton Henry both had ankle surgeries, I think in December. So they missed a game or two. Our first game back was our first league game, but they weren't 100%. If you know them like I know them all year long, to be honest with you, there were lingering issues with it, etc. But Jabari's in a great place. So glad he came back, and he's determined and looks great. He's in good health for the most part. And, he's playing out of position a little bit for us because of an injury situation. So he's been playing a lot of point for us this fall. And I think it's really helped his game overall. We'll see how much he'll play it during the season. But his value is just all over the court. I wouldn't consider him, a scorer. He's definitely a capable scorer. But what I love about him is he just competes so hard. He rebounds the ball. He understands how to play. He does the little things. He's a great defender. So it's as a coach, obviously, it's fun to have guys that are two-way players and get the game. And certainly he's very capable of putting the ball in the basket as well. So we're expecting him to have a big year for us.
Yeah, I think Donnie Tillman will too. He's a versatile player, returnee at 11.6 and 5.6 boards. I thought as I was reading clips, maybe consistency might be the biggest thing you're looking for him now from game to game.
Yeah, I think being a second-year player in our program, most coaches will tell you that second year is where they make the biggest jumps, regardless of how old they are when they enter. That just the familiarity with everything, with the expectations, with the staff, with the scheme, where they sleep, where they practice, play, etc. Normally, kids make the biggest jump, and we expect that from him. He's battling some injuries right now, but up until then, I would argue that he was our most productive player all around. I mean, he just had a really good fall, taking care of the basketball, making good decisions. He got to the point where he understood the system and he could move them up and down the roster in terms of playing different positions, 2 all the way to 5. So, and the thing I like about him is he can guard, multiple positions, and that's valuable, obviously, to anybody. So we just got to get him healthy and get him back playing like he was until he had his recent injury.
Yeah, Johnny McCants, and you mentioned Clayton Henry, 2 key pieces. Both had injury issues, but Henry was all defensive first team in the WAC last year.
Yeah, Clayton's just our glue guy, Swiss Army knife guy, definitely one of our best defenders, if not the best. And, unfortunately, he had an ankle injury last year that he had surgery on. He played the year and was great this summer. And then this fall, he started complaining that foot hurt. So we had it imaged, and unfortunately, it didn't heal properly. So they had to basically do another surgery, and this one required a little more extensive work inside the foot. So he'll be out till mid-December, but he's handled it great. He's had some really bad luck. He's had 4 surgeries since he's been here, and just bad luck all the way around, but he's handled it well. And, he kind of kidded me the other day. He was like, "Coach, I'm a pro at this now. I know how to rehab, and I'll be back before you know it." And I'm not sure if I would have had that kind of attitude, but he's been great teammate, been really good with the new guys, encouraging them, helping them. And hopefully soon he'll start moving around a little bit. And like I said, it'll be a nice shot in the arm for us when he gets back on the playing roster.
Well, you and I were talking about before we came in, you've got, I guess, a lot of moving pieces this year with 5 Division I transfers, 4 junior college transfers, and 4 incoming freshmen. How interesting has the overall competition been when you bring this many new kids together under one umbrella?
Well, we were excited about it as a staff. I'm a big believer in having options, and I'd rather have a little more than a little less when it comes to talent and players, and that was kind of our approach. And then the other thing is, due to COVID and having potential of people having to sit out and quarantine, we felt like the bigger the roster this year would be better. And so we pinned our ears back as a staff and we used all of our scholarships that were available to us due to the extra ones of the whole NCAA having given everyone an extra year of eligibility due to COVID. And we ended up having a bigger roster. And it was exciting to think about that kind of competition. And we certainly still have some, but unfortunately, we've had anywhere from 3 to 6 players out almost on a daily basis since school started, with an array of injuries. Some guys have been in and out. We scrimmaged this last Saturday, and we had 5 guys in street clothes of all scholarship players, which is just disappointing for them individually and certainly for us. But only 1 or 2 of them possibly are a little more long-term. We hope to get 3 of them back here by the end of this week, and then we can, get them ready to play the games. But definitely we're deeper than we were last year, and certainly that's comforting going into the season.
Yeah, as far as formulating a depth chart, how tough has that been with the injuries coming into play?
No, it's been easier because we don't have as many choices. We don't have as many choices as coaches in terms of playing different kind of lineups because of the personnel. We're just happy that we have as big a roster as we do this year in order to have 10 guys to practice. Last year, when we had all those injuries, we had plenty of days where we didn't have enough guys to practice due to COVID or injuries. And that was really frustrating for everybody, not just the coaches, for the players too. They want to play, they want to practice. Especially when you get mid to late October, they're tired of the drills and they're ready to play someone else. They want to play more 5-on-5 and compete. And we understand that as coaches as well. But it's been a blessing to have the amount of bodies that we've had to handle, these injuries, to continue to practice. But, I said it at a function at NMSU last week that, our biggest key isn't shooting the ball or rebounding or defending. It's to get healthy and then stay healthy. That's our biggest key to this upcoming season. And we got to keep our fingers crossed. And if we do that, then I really like the group that we have together. But it's just been a rough fall that way.
Yeah, but for the older guys, the idea of not winning the WAC regular season or tournament last year, has that resonated with them throughout, off season, and then maybe it resonates into the new guys as they hear about this and the standards you've created there?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's been addressed at different times, since kids have arrived, not only in the summer, but definitely in the fall when our whole team started school together. But it's not what we talk about daily. What the kids talk about, outside of being with us, I'm not sure if that comes up very often or not, but I think once we get into WAC play and get preparing for that probably will come up. Who knows where we'll be at as a ball club, come late December when we open WAC play. But it's definitely something that some of the older guys have mentioned in team meetings, video. Definitely love to hear that, rather than having a coach have to bring that up when your current players are talking about the disappointment, not only for themselves, but for the fan base and how much they care. And but I think that will be more of something that will be addressed as we get into conference play.
Hey, Coach, I know the WAC grew here. We got Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin, Lamar, Sam Houston State coming in from the Southland, and then I think Southern Utah comes in 22-23. Talk about that dynamic and some of the effects now that it'll have.
Yeah, I think it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
More people are talking about our league in the off season, at least
Yeah.
since I've been here. This will be my 5th season, and more people are talking about the WAC because of the new teams that are coming into the league. Some of these teams that had big time success recently, Stephen F. Austin, everybody's very aware of what they've been doing. Obviously, Abilene Christian, exactly. Abilene Christian, beating Texas in the tournament. And then, Lamar with Coach Brooks coming from Houston and all the winning they've been doing. And he's a major vet in the game. And then Jason Hooten's got a wonderful reputation as a teacher coach out of Sam Houston. And you mentioned Southern Utah, which I'm not quite ready to worry about them yet. We got a whole nother year before we have to deal with them, but they won their league, last year. Yeah. So I just think the quality of play for everybody is going to go up. It's going to be more of a challenge for coaches to having to figure out new schemes, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I think our league has improved from a basketball perspective. And I think that's good for all of us.
College basketball across the country, through the pandemic, through the period of racial injustice, through the transfer portal. How do you see the health of the sport right now?
That's a great question. And you can add conference realignment. I don't know if you mentioned that or not, but there's been a lot of change, and most of it, has been for the good. Student athletes' rights, player. A lot of people are being advocates for players and what they should be getting, and I think it's all good. I mean, if we can increase the experience that they have, while they're earning their degree, I'm all for it. It's definitely a different time. The game and the landscape of college basketball has changed dramatically. We were talking prior to coming on live, and for the fans, some of them aren't going to like the fact that there's going to be 7, 8, 10, 12 new players in most programs every year. They love seeing a freshman and then watching them grow till their 4th or 5th year in college. And that's not going to be the norm anymore at most places. That's just not the way it's going to be, with the ability for the players to leave, one time without having to sit out anywhere and transfer. It's just going to change recruiting. It's going to change how many new players you have every year. And my, attitude towards it is, regardless of how you feel individually, you better adapt and change or get left behind. So, we're rolling with the punches and using the portal to our advantage as best we can, and trying to stay up with the times.
Yeah. Last thing, Coach, November the 9th, a week from tomorrow night, we all kick it off. I noticed you guys have got an interesting game. Like you've been the standard in the WAC. Cal Irvine has been basically the standard in the Big West. So that's a nice matchup here to start with. Talk a little bit about that matchup as you see it right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fun for you guys and for the fans
Mm-hmm.
to think about it. It's not a lot of fun for us to think about it because it's staring us in the face. And we just had a hard time scheduling, like a lot of mids are having with the expansion of the Power 5 league schedules, just not as many opportunities to play teams like that. And so it just worked out for both of us to pair up and play on opening night. We normally haven't played quite that type of opponent on opening night, but it is what it is. And it'll be a great barometer for us. I got a lot of respect for Coach Turner and their staff and their program, and the winning that you talked about and their style of play it's just in your face, and you better be prepared, and you better, hook it up and put your big boy pants on, because they're going to play really, really hard, and they're going to compete, and they're not going to worry about being the visitor. And we understand that, and we'll have our hands full. And then the following Saturday, Coach Golding and his new UTEP team will be coming over, and then we leave for Myrtle Beach and play Coach McKillop and Davidson and a bunch of other quality programs out there. So first 2-3 weeks of the season, we're going to be tested early and often, and hopefully we'll be able to withstand it.
Coach Chris Jans, Las Cruces, New Mexico, the New Mexico State Aggies. Coach, it's a pleasure for you to come back on here. I love talking about your basketball team. We need to get more dates for you guys, though, on ESPN, so the basketball world that only uses a TV can see.
Well, I'm with all that. So hopefully as the WAC gets better and improved, and we can get some more exposure, that'd be awesome. But appreciate you having me, Ken, and
It's a
enjoy your
pleasure.
basketball season for sure.